A long time ago, before you or I were even born, there were no dinosaurs alive on Earth anymore. They had all gone extinct millions of years ago, but people still loved them. Scientists, kids, grown-ups. Everyone thought dinosaurs were cool and amazing. Some people wanted to bring them back. That's where our story begins. There was a very rich man named John Hammond. He was not mean. He was kind and funny, like a grandpa. Hammond had a dream. He wanted to make a park where kids and families could go and see real dinosaurs, not just bones in a museum. He wanted to bring dinosaurs back to life. But how could he do that? Dinosaurs had been gone for so long. Their bones were old and dry. You couldn't just put bones together and make them alive again. Hammond needed a new idea. Luckily, he found one. Scientists discovered that sometimes bugs, like mosquitoes, would drink dinosaur blood millions of years ago. And sometimes those bugs got trapped in tree sap, which turned into hard amber, kind of like yellow glass. That meant there could still be dinosaur blood inside the bug's belly, frozen in time. Hammond's scientists looked inside these bugs, and they found dinosaur DNA. DNA is like a recipe inside every living thing. It tells the body how to grow, what color eyes you have, how tall you'll be, and everything else. Using the DNA, Hammond's team tried to rebuild dinosaurs. But the DNA was not complete. It was like having a recipe book with missing pages. So, they filled the missing parts with DNA from frogs. And amazingly, it worked. They created real baby dinosaurs, the first ones in millions of years. Hammond was so excited. He built a huge island park called Jurassic Park, far away from people, so the dinosaurs could live safely. The park had giant fences, computers, and cars that could drive on their own. Dinosaurs of all kinds lived there, tall ones with long necks, tiny ones that were quick and sneaky, and of course, the most famous of them all, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. But Hammond wasn't ready to open the park just yet. He needed experts to come and check it out first. He invited Dr. Alan Grant, who studied dinosaur bones, and Dr. Ellie Sattler, who studied ancient plants. He also invited Dr. Ian Malcolm, a funny but serious man who studied chaos theory. Basically, he believed that no matter how well you plan things, life will always find a way to surprise you. When these scientists came to the island, they couldn't believe their eyes. They saw a real, living brachiosaurus standing tall and eating leaves. Their mouths dropped open. Dinosaurs were alive again. It was like magic. Hammond smiled proudly. He knew he had done something no one else had ever done before, but not everyone was sure it was a good idea. Dr. Malcolm warned Hammond. He said, "Life finds a way." What he meant was, you can't control nature. You can't just lock up dinosaurs and expect them to behave like zoo animals. They're wild, powerful, and from a different time. Still, Hammond wanted to show them the park. They went on a tour in cars that drove themselves on a track. Hammond's grandchildren, Lex and Tim, came too. The kids were so excited to see real dinosaurs. But on the tour, some dinosaurs didn't show up. The T-Rex was hiding. The raptors were dangerous, so they stayed in cages. Things seemed a little boring until everything started to go wrong. There was a man working for Hammond named Dennis Nedry. He was greedy and wanted money, so he made a plan to steal dinosaur eggs and sell them. To do this, he shut off the park's power, which made the fences stop working. That was very bad news, because it meant the dinosaurs could get out. And that's exactly what happened. The T-Rex broke out of its fence in the middle of the night during a thunderstorm. The ground shook with every step. She roared so loud everyone covered their ears. The kids, Lex and Tim, were trapped in their car. The T-Rex attacked, smashing the car and almost eating them. Dr. Grant saved the kids, but it was very scary. Meanwhile, the Velociraptors were clever. They tested the fences and found ways to escape too. They were fast, smart, and hunted in packs. They could even open doors. Suddenly, Jurassic Park wasn't a fun place anymore. It was dangerous. The group had to survive the night on the island. They hid from the T-Rex, ran from the raptors, and tried to turn the power back on. Lex, who was good with computers, helped restart the park systems. Tim stayed brave, even though he was scared. Dr. Grant protected them like a dad, even though he didn't really like kids at first. But being with them changed his heart. In the end, the humans escaped. The T-Rex fought the raptors in the visitor center, roaring and smashing bones. That gave the people time to get away. Hammond watched as his dream fell apart. He realized that maybe Malcolm was right. You can't control nature. Dinosaurs were too big, too wild, too powerful. The survivors flew away in a helicopter, leaving the island behind. They looked out the window and saw birds flying in the sky, descendants of dinosaurs. Hammond sat quietly, sad that his park had failed. Dr. Grant smiled at the kids, knowing they were safe. But even though they escaped, Jurassic Park was not gone forever. Dinosaurs were alive now, and the world would never be the same. After the disaster at Jurassic Park, everyone thought the dinosaurs would just stay on the island, away from people. Hammond promised the world that his park would never open. But what most people didn't know was that there was not just one island. There was another one nearby called Isla Sorna. That's where the scientists had secretly raised the dinosaurs before moving them to the park. When everything went wrong, Isla Sorna was left alone. No fences, no people, just dinosaurs running free. 4 years later, Hammond was much older and weaker. He didn't want to control the dinosaurs anymore. He wanted them to live in peace, like animals in the wild. But other people in his company didn't agree. They thought dinosaurs could still make them rich, so they planned to capture some and bring them to the mainland, where they could open a new Jurassic Park in the city. To stop them, Hammond asked Dr. Ian Malcolm to help. Remember him? He was the one who said, "Life finds a way." Malcolm didn't want to go back. He had already seen how dangerous dinosaurs were. But then Hammond told him that Malcolm's girlfriend, Sarah Harding, was already on Isla Sorna studying the dinosaurs. Also, Malcolm's daughter, Kelly, secretly followed him because she didn't want him to leave her behind. Now he had no choice. He had to go back to the island to save Sarah and protect the dinosaurs. When they arrived on Isla Sorna, they saw something amazing. Dinosaurs were living like it was millions of years ago. A family of Stegosaurus walked through the jungle. A herd of Parasaurolophus drank from a river. They were free, wild, and beautiful. Sarah loved watching them. But it wasn't safe for long because the hunters showed up. The hunters worked for Hammond's company. They had trucks, cages, and weapons. Their leader was Roland Tembo, a tough man who wanted to hunt the biggest dinosaur of all, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. The hunters captured many dinosaurs and locked them up. They even trapped a baby T-Rex, using it to lure the parents. Malcolm, Sarah, and their team didn't want this to happen. They freed the dinosaurs from their cages, causing chaos in the hunters' camp. Dinosaurs stampeded everywhere, knocking over cars and tents. The hunters were angry, but the fight between people didn't matter much, because soon the dinosaurs themselves changed the game. The baby T-Rex was hurt, so Sarah and Nick, another scientist, tried to fix its broken leg. But while they did, the parents came looking for their baby. The giant T-Rex smashed into their trailer, roaring and shaking the walls. The humans barely escaped, but the dinosaurs destroyed almost everything. Things got worse and worse. The hunters and the scientists were now stuck together, trying to survive. Raptors attacked in the tall grass, jumping out and pulling people down. They were faster and smarter than anyone expected. Sarah, Malcolm, and Kelly ran through abandoned buildings while the raptors chased them. Kelly, who was good at gymnastics, even kicked one through a window, saving her dad. But the biggest danger was still coming. The hunters had captured the baby T-Rex again and brought it, along with its parents, onto a giant ship. Their plan was to take them to San Diego, a big city, and open a new Jurassic Park right in the middle of people's homes. Hammond's dream had turned into a nightmare. When the ship reached the city, something terrible happened. The adult T-Rex had broken free. It roared and stomped through the streets, smashing cars, knocking down streetlights, and scaring everyone. People screamed and ran. For the first time, dinosaurs were not just on an island. They were in the real world. Malcolm and Sarah had to stop it before more people got hurt. They used the baby T-Rex to lure the parent back onto the ship. The huge dinosaur followed its child, and together they were locked back inside. The ship was sent back to Isla Sorna, where the dinosaurs belonged. At the end, Malcolm told everyone that humans needed to learn a lesson. Dinosaurs were not toys, not zoo animals, and not things to make money from. They were powerful creatures from another time, and they deserved to live free without humans controlling them. Hammond agreed. He gave a message to the world saying, "These creatures require our absence, not our help." That meant we needed to stay away and let them be. And so Isla Sorna was left as a wild place, full of dinosaurs living on their own. But deep down, everyone knew that humans would never completely stay away. Dinosaurs were too amazing, too tempting, and too dangerous to ignore. The story was not over yet. Time passed after the T-Rex walked through the city streets. People were scared, but instead of learning their lesson, many still wanted to use dinosaurs for money or adventure. Isla Sorna, the island full of free dinosaurs, became a dangerous place where some people sneaked in for fun and others for profit. One day, a young boy named Eric Kirby went on a parasailing trip near Isla Sorna with a family friend. The boat pulling them got attacked by something mysterious, and the people on board disappeared. Eric's parachute carried him onto the island. He was trapped there, alone, surrounded by dinosaurs. His parents, Paul and Amanda Kirby, were desperate to find him. They weren't rich or powerful, but they made up a story and tricked a famous dinosaur expert, Dr. Alan Grant, into helping them. Remember Dr. Grant? He was the one who loved raptors but didn't really like kids back in the first movie. This time, he thought he was just going on a rich couple's sightseeing trip over Isla Sorna, but he soon discovered the truth. The Kirbys wanted him to help rescue their son. Dr. Grant was angry about being tricked, but by then it was too late. Their plane had already landed on Isla Sorna, and the island was much more dangerous than before. The first dinosaur they ran into was not the T-Rex. It was something even bigger, the Spinosaurus. The Spinosaurus was huge, with a sail-like fin on its back and a long crocodile-like snout filled with sharp teeth. It was strong enough to break their plane in half and chase them through the jungle. Later, the Spinosaurus even fought the T-Rex and won. This shocked everyone because until then, the T-Rex was always the king. But the Spinosaurus snapped its neck and proved it was now the top predator on the island. While running for their lives, the group also faced raptors. But these raptors were different from before. They were smarter, faster, and had feathers on their heads. They weren't just hunting for food, they were protecting something important, their eggs. The Kirbys and Dr. Grant realized that raptors communicated with each other using special sounds, like a language. Dr. Grant had studied a raptor's voice box before, and now he understood just how intelligent they really were. The group searched everywhere for Eric. They hid from herds of dinosaurs, escaped a stampede of giant Corythosaurus and Parasaurolophus, and tried not to get eaten. Eventually, they discovered something incredible. Eric had survived on his own for weeks. He made smoke bombs, collected T-Rex urine to scare smaller dinosaurs, and found safe places to hide. Dr. Grant was impressed. Eric was braver and smarter than anyone had guessed. But escaping the island was still a huge challenge. The Spinosaurus stalked them again and again, smashing fences and chasing them into a river. At one point, they floated on a boat, only to realize the Spinosaurus was swimming underneath, waiting to strike. Just when it seemed they were doomed, they set fire to the river using fuel, scaring the giant predator away. The raptors, though, were even more dangerous. They surrounded the group in the jungle, hissing and clicking, ready to attack. But Dr. Grant used the raptor voice box he had studied to call out and confuse them. It worked. The raptors stopped, looked at him strangely, and then retreated to save their eggs instead. It showed that dinosaurs weren't just monsters. They were parents, thinkers, and survivors. Finally, the group reached the beach, where soldiers arrived to rescue them. Eric was reunited with his parents, and Dr. Grant survived yet another terrifying trip to a dinosaur island. As they flew away in a helicopter, they looked down and saw something amazing: pteranodons, flying reptiles, soaring freely into the sky. They weren't trapped on the island anymore. They were leaving, heading into the wide world. This was a scary thought. Dinosaurs were not staying in cages, not staying on islands. They were spreading out. Little by little, the world was changing. Humans no longer had control over nature. Dr. Grant left with a new respect for dinosaurs. He realized they weren't just creatures from the past. They were here to stay. And someday, humans and dinosaurs might have to live side by side, whether people were ready or not. Many years had passed since the first Jurassic Park failed. People thought the idea of a dinosaur theme park was too dangerous, and it was forgotten for a while. But John Hammond's dream didn't completely die. Another man named Simon Masrani took over and decided to make Hammond's idea come true. Only bigger, better, and safer. He built a brand new park on the same island as the first one, Isla Nublar. This time, it wasn't just called Jurassic Park, it was called Jurassic World. And unlike before, this park actually opened to the public. Families from all over the world came to see real dinosaurs with their own eyes. Jurassic World was like Disneyland, but with living dinosaurs. It had hotels, shops, restaurants, and rides. People could ride in clear bubble cars called gyrospheres that rolled right next to dinosaurs eating grass. There were baby dinosaur petting zoos, water shows with giant sea creatures, and even a T-Rex attraction where guests could watch it eat. At first, everything seemed amazing. Dinosaurs were no longer just a dream, they were a business. But soon, problems began to grow. Visitors started to get bored. After seeing a T-Rex a few times, it wasn't scary anymore. They wanted something bigger, scarier, and cooler. To keep the park exciting, the scientists decided to do something dangerous. Create a brand new dinosaur. This dinosaur was called the Indominus Rex. It wasn't a natural dinosaur from the past. It was made in a lab with DNA from different animals. It had T-Rex strength, raptor intelligence, and even tricks like being able to hide from heat cameras and camouflage into its surroundings. It was designed to be the ultimate attraction, the scariest, most powerful dinosaur ever made. But creating a monster has consequences. The Indominus grew too big, too fast, and too smart. One day, it tricked the workers into thinking it had escaped. When they went inside its cage, it attacked and broke out for real. Now, the most dangerous dinosaur in the world was loose in Jurassic World. At the same time, two brothers named Zach and Gray were visiting the park. Their parents were going through tough times, so their mom sent them to spend time with their aunt, Claire, who worked at Jurassic World as the park manager. But Claire was very busy and asked her nephews to enjoy the park on their own. When the Indominus escaped, Zack and Gray found themselves trapped right in the middle of the chaos. The park needed help. That's where Owen Grady came in. Owen was a trainer who worked with a pack of Velociraptors. He had spent years teaching them commands, feeding them, and earning their trust. The raptors weren't pets, they were still wild, but they respected him like the leader of their pack. The park's security team wanted to use the raptors to hunt the Indominus. Owen didn't like the idea, but he knew the Indominus had to be stopped. Things didn't go as planned, though. When the raptors found the Indominus, something shocking happened. The Indominus spoke to them. Because it had raptor DNA, it became their new alpha. The raptors turned against the humans, attacking soldiers and causing even more chaos. Meanwhile, Zack and Gray's adventure took them into dangerous places, running from dinosaurs in the jungle, escaping a giant sea creature called the Mosasaurus, and nearly being eaten by pteranodons when the flying reptiles escaped and attacked the main park. But finally, they reunited with Claire and Owen, who promised to keep them safe. The final showdown came when the Indominus started hunting them near the visitor center. Owen managed to get the raptors back on his side, but most of them were killed fighting the monster. The Indominus was too strong. It seemed unstoppable. But Claire had one last idea. She released the park's original T-Rex, the same one from the very first Jurassic Park. The T-Rex roared and charged at the Indominus. The battle was epic. The two giants clashed, smashing through buildings and fences. Just when it looked like the Indominus might win, the surviving raptor joined the fight. Together, the T-Rex and the raptor forced the Indominus to the edge of the lagoon. Then, splash! Out of nowhere, the Mosasaurus leapt from the water, grabbing the Indominus in its massive jaws and dragging it down into the deep. The monster was gone for good. At the end, the park was in ruins. Jurassic World was closed forever, and the survivors were evacuated. Owen, Claire, and the kids survived, but everyone realized something important. Humans couldn't control dinosaurs. Nature was always stronger. Back on the island, the T-Rex stood tall, roaring over the ruins of Jurassic World, free once again. The park was finished, but the age of dinosaurs was not. They were alive, powerful, and waiting for what would happen next. After Jurassic World was destroyed, the island of Isla Nublar was left alone. No tourists, no workers, just dinosaurs living free. For a while, things were peaceful, but then something terrible happened. The volcano on the island, which had been quiet for years, started to wake up. Lava bubbled, smoke rose into the sky, and soon it was clear. The island was going to explode. The world argued about what to do. Some people said, "Let the dinosaurs die, they shouldn't exist." Others said, "They are alive now, they deserve a chance to live." In the end, the government decided not to save them. But not everyone agreed. A rich old man named Benjamin Lockwood, who used to be friends with John Hammond, wanted to rescue the dinosaurs. He asked Claire Deering, the woman who once managed Jurassic World, to help. Claire still cared about the dinosaurs, so she agreed. She also asked Owen Grady to join, because only he could find Blue, the last Velociraptor he trained. Together they returned to Isla Nublar. But when they arrived, things weren't as simple as they thought. The volcano was erupting, and dinosaurs were running in terror as fire rained down. Claire and Owen rushed to save as many as they could. They found Blue, but something was wrong. Soldiers working for Lockwood's assistant, Eli Mills, tricked them. Instead of rescuing the dinosaurs, Mills planned to capture them and sell them for money. The heroes barely escaped as the volcano exploded, destroying the island forever. Dinosaurs stampeded toward the sea, some falling into lava, others leaping into the ocean to survive. It was heartbreaking. An entire world of dinosaurs wiped out again. Only a few were taken away on ships, locked in cages. These dinosaurs were brought to Lockwood's mansion on the mainland. But Mills had a darker plan. He and a scientist named Dr. Henry Wu weren't just saving dinosaurs, they were making new ones. Using Blue's raptor DNA, they created another hybrid, the Indoraptor. It was smaller than the Indominus Rex, but just as deadly, with sharp claws, black scales, and red eyes. It was designed to be a weapon that could be used in wars. Meanwhile, Claire, Owen, and a little girl named Maisie, who lived with Lockwood, discovered the truth. Maisie loved dinosaurs, but she also found out something shocking about herself. She wasn't just Lockwood's granddaughter, she was a clone. That meant she was created just like the dinosaurs, using DNA. She felt connected to them because she, too, was brought back. That night, rich buyers came to the mansion to bid on dinosaurs like they were rare cars. They bought an Ankylosaurus, a Carnotaurus, and even baby dinosaurs. But when they brought out the Indoraptor, things got out of control. The Indoraptor was too smart to be contained. It tricked the guards, escaped its cage, and began hunting everyone in the mansion. The Indoraptor stalked Owen, Claire, and Maisie through dark hallways and even climbed onto the roof, snarling and snapping its teeth. It seemed unstoppable. But in the end, Blue, the real raptor, fought the Indoraptor. Blue leapt onto it, and together they crashed through a glass roof. The Indoraptor fell to its death on top of sharp dinosaur skulls in the museum below. But the danger wasn't over. Poison gas started leaking into the dinosaur cages. If nothing was done, all the captured dinosaurs would die. Claire wanted to free them, but she stopped herself. She remembered how dangerous it would be to release them into the world. Just when it seemed too late, Maisie pressed the button. She couldn't let them die because she was like them, created by science. She freed them all. The dinosaurs rushed out of the mansion and disappeared into the wild. The world was no longer separate from dinosaurs. For the first time ever, humans and dinosaurs would live together. The last scenes showed just how serious this was. A T-Rex roared at a lion in a zoo. Pteranodons flew over Las Vegas. A Mosasaurus attacked surfers in the ocean. Dinosaurs were spreading across the planet. Dr. Ian Malcolm, now older, warned everyone. "We are living in a new age. Welcome to Jurassic World." After Maisie freed the dinosaurs from the mansion, the world changed forever. Dinosaurs were no longer stuck on an island. They were everywhere, flying over cities, running through forests, swimming in the oceans, and even walking down roads where people lived. At first, everyone was amazed. Seeing a dinosaur in real life felt like magic. But soon, the problems began. A herd of dinosaurs could trample farms. Raptors could sneak into backyards. The Mosasaurus, the giant sea monster, attacked boats. Humans were no longer at the top of the food chain. To deal with this, a powerful company called Biosyn stepped in. They promised to help. They said they would protect the dinosaurs and study them in a safe place called the Biosyn Valley, a huge sanctuary where the animals could live. But not everyone trusted Biosyn because they seemed too interested in money and control. Meanwhile, Owen and Claire were living in hiding. They were taking care of Maisie, the cloned girl, because other people wanted to kidnap her and use her DNA for experiments. Maisie felt trapped, not able to live a normal life, but Owen and Claire treated her like family. Blue the Velociraptor was nearby too, and she now had a baby raptor named Beta. Blue trusted Owen, and Owen promised to protect both her and Beta. But then everything changed again. Biosyn's men kidnapped Maisie and Beta, taking them to their secret valley. Claire and Owen had no choice. They had to go on another adventure to save their daughter and the baby raptor. At the same time, something strange was happening to the world's crops. Giant prehistoric locusts, huge bugs bigger than your hand, were eating farms and destroying food supplies. Farmers were scared, and the world worried about starving. Dr. Ellie Sattler, the scientist who studied plants in the first Jurassic Park, discovered the locusts were made by biosyn. They weren't just bugs from nature. They had been changed with DNA so they would eat crops that weren't planted with biosyn seeds. This meant biosyn could control food for the whole world. Ellie asked her old friend, Dr. Alan Grant, to help her prove biosyn's plan. Together, they went to the valley. And guess who they met there? Dr. Ian Malcolm, the chaos scientist, who was now working with biosyn, but secretly helping Ellie and Alan uncover the truth. Soon, all the characters, Claire, Owen, Maisie, Ellie, Alan, and Malcolm, ended up inside Biosyn Valley. It was filled with dinosaurs of all shapes and sizes, Allosaurus, Dimetrodon, Dilophosaurus, and even the largest predator ever discovered, the Giganotosaurus. This dinosaur was bigger than the T-Rex and wanted everyone to know it was the new boss. While sneaking through the valley, Owen and Claire worked to rescue Maisie and Beta, while Ellie and Alan tried to steal proof about the locusts. But biosyn's systems failed, and everything turned into chaos. The giant locusts caught fire, flying through the night sky like burning monsters, setting parts of the valley ablaze. Dinosaurs panicked, running through the flames. The final showdown happened near biosyn's headquarters. The Giganotosaurus appeared, ready to hunt the humans. But the T-Rex, the same one who had survived since the first Jurassic Park, returned. At first, it looked like the T-Rex might lose, just like against the Spinosaurus years before. But then, with help from a spiky dinosaur called Therizinosaurus, the T-Rex defeated the Giganotosaurus in an epic fight. The queen of the dinosaurs still reigned. In the end, Owen reunited Blue with her baby, Beta. Maisie realized she wasn't just a clone, she was a person with her own choices. And the old team, Ellie, Alan, and Malcolm, proved biosyn's evil plan to the world, stopping them from controlling food. The world was still dangerous, but there was hope. Humans and dinosaurs were learning to live together, sharing the planet. Some dinosaurs roamed wild, others stayed in sanctuaries. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. The age of dinosaurs had returned, and humans had to accept it. As the story closed, Dr. Malcolm said something important. Humans had to learn to respect nature, not control it. Dinosaurs were not monsters, but they were also not pets. They were living creatures, and this time, they weren't going anywhere. And so, the dream of Jurassic Park had finally come true. But not in the way Hammond imagined. Instead of a park, the whole Earth had become a Jurassic World. Dinosaurs weren't just animals in Jurassic Park. They were like characters in the story, each with their own strengths, weaknesses, and special moments. Let's look at some of the most important ones. First, we have the Tyrannosaurus Rex, also called the T-Rex. She is one of the most famous dinosaurs in the world. In the very first Jurassic Park, she was both scary and heroic. She smashed fences, attacked cars, and almost ate Lex and Tim. But at the end, she saved the humans by fighting the Velociraptors, roaring proudly as the banner that said, "When dinosaurs ruled the earth," fell around her. The T-Rex showed up again in almost every movie. In Jurassic Park 3, she fought the Spinosaurus but lost, which shocked everyone. But later in Jurassic World, she came back for revenge. She battled the Indominus Rex with help from Blue the Raptor, and together they won. In Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, and Dominion, she kept proving she was still the queen of the dinosaurs. She wasn't just a monster. She was a survivor, a symbol of Jurassic Park itself. Then there are the Velociraptors. In the first movie, they were the scariest dinosaurs. They were smart, hunted in packs, and could open doors. They were small compared to the T-Rex, but they were clever and deadly. They trapped humans in kitchens, stalked them in tall grass, and chased them through buildings. But in Jurassic World, the raptors became something new. Owen Grady trained 4 of them, Blue, Delta, Echo, and Charlie. They weren't tame, but they respected Owen. Blue, with her blue stripe, became the most important raptor of all. She was loyal, brave, and even emotional. She showed love and trust. In battles, Blue fought against the Indominus and the Indoraptor, proving that raptors could be heroes too. Another famous dinosaur was the Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3. Bigger than the T-Rex, it had a long snout and a sail on its back. The Spinosaurus shocked everyone when it killed a T-Rex in a fight. It chased Dr. Grant and the Kirbys across rivers, through the jungle, and even underwater. Unlike other dinosaurs, the Spinosaurus seemed unstoppable, and it showed that humans had created new problems by cloning so many kinds of dinosaurs. Then came the hybrids, the dinosaurs made in labs. The most dangerous was the Indominus Rex in Jurassic World. She was built from T-Rex, raptor, and other animals like cuttlefish and snakes. That's why she could camouflage, hide from heat, and trick humans. But she wasn't just dangerous because of her size. She was cruel. She killed for fun, not just for food. In the end, she was too much for anyone to control. The next hybrid was the Indoraptor in Fallen Kingdom. It was like a smaller, darker Indominus mixed with a raptor. The Indoraptor was sneaky and terrifying, creeping through hallways like a monster in a haunted house. It wasn't just strong, it was smart enough to play tricks, like pretending to be asleep. But when it went after Maisie, Blue fought it, and the Indoraptor fell to its doom. Not all dinosaurs were villains, though. Some were gentle giants, like the Brachiosaurus, the long-necked dinosaur that amazed Dr. Grant in the first movie. Seeing it stand up tall to eat leaves was magical. Later, in Fallen Kingdom, a Brachiosaurus sadly died in the fire on Isla Nublar, standing in the smoke as the island disappeared. It reminded everyone that dinosaurs weren't just scary, they could be beautiful and innocent too. Another important creature was the Mosasaurus, the giant sea reptile. She lived in the lagoon at Jurassic World and amazed visitors by leaping out of the water to eat sharks. Later, she became a symbol of danger when she ate the Indominus Rex at the end of Jurassic World. She also attacked ships and surfers in later movies, proving the oceans were no longer safe. There were also smaller dinosaurs that added excitement. The Dilophosaurus in the first movie had a frill and spit poison at Dennis Nedry, showing that even small dinosaurs could be deadly. The Pteranodons caused chaos when they escaped in Jurassic Park 3 and attacked visitors in Jurassic World. The Ankylosaurus, with its clubbed tail, fought the Indominus. And the Therizinosaurus, with its giant claws, helped defeat the Giganotosaurus in Dominion. All these dinosaurs together told the story of Jurassic Park. Some were villains, some were heroes, and some were just animals trying to survive. But they all showed one truth. Dinosaurs weren't just from the past anymore. They were alive, and humans had to learn how to live with them. Jurassic Park wasn't just about dinosaurs chasing people. Behind all the action, the story was also about big lessons, things we can learn about nature, science, and ourselves. One of the most important lessons is the idea that life finds a way. Dr. Ian Malcolm said this in the very first movie, and it became the heart of the whole story. What does it mean? It means that life, plants, animals, even people, will always keep going no matter what. You can't control it. You can't stop it. Even if scientists try to build fences, make rules, or design new creatures, life will always surprise us. We see this lesson again and again. The scientists thought the dinosaurs couldn't breed because they were all female. But the dinosaurs used frog DNA to change and lay eggs anyway. Life found a way. In Jurassic World, the scientists thought they could control the Indominus Rex, but it became too smart and escaped. Life found a way. And in the end of Fallen Kingdom, the dinosaurs were freed into the world. Now humans had to live with them because life found a way. Another big theme is about humans and nature. The movies show what happens when people try to control nature too much. John Hammond wanted to make a park where dinosaurs were attractions, like zoo animals. But dinosaurs aren't pets. They are wild creatures from another time. Hammond's dream was exciting, but it wasn't safe. Nature is too powerful to be trapped in cages forever. Later, companies like InGen and Biosyn didn't just want dinosaurs for fun. They wanted to use them for money and power. They sold dinosaurs as weapons, made hybrids like the Indominus, and even created giant locusts to control crops. Each time, humans tried to force nature to do what they wanted, and each time, it backfired. Dinosaurs escaped. People got hurt. The world changed in ways no one expected. The lesson is clear. When humans play with nature just to get rich or powerful, they usually cause problems. There's also a lesson about respect. In the beginning, dinosaurs were treated like monsters. Everyone was scared of them. But as the story goes on, people start to understand them better. Dr. Grant, who at first didn't like kids, ended up protecting Lex and Tim and also respecting raptors. Owen showed that raptors weren't just killers. They could trust, learn, and even care. Maisie felt connected to dinosaurs because, like her, they were created in a lab. She saw them as living beings, not experiments. Respecting dinosaurs doesn't mean we should treat them like pets, but it does mean understanding that they are part of the world now. They're not villains. They're survivors, just like us. Another big theme is about family and teamwork. In every movie, people survive not by being alone, but by helping each other. Dr. Grant and the kids, Malcolm and Sarah, Owen and Claire, Maisie and Blue, all of them worked together. Even dinosaurs helped each other. Blue saved Owen. The T-Rex worked with the raptors to fight the Indominus, and the Therizinosaurus helped against the Giganotosaurus. The message is simple. We are stronger when we work together. And maybe the biggest lesson of all is this. Just because we can do something doesn't mean we should. The scientists had the power to bring dinosaurs back to life. But should they have? Hammond wanted to amaze the world, but he didn't think about the danger. Dr. Wu wanted to make hybrids, but he didn't think about what would happen if they escaped. Humans kept asking, can we? When they should have been asking, should we? In the end, Jurassic Park and Jurassic World remind us to be careful with science, respect nature, and think about the consequences of our choices. Dinosaurs are amazing, but they are also a warning. If we try to control life too much, we might lose control completely. So when you hear the roar of the T-Rex, see the clever eyes of a raptor, or imagine the giant wings of a pteranodon, remember, they're not just cool creatures from movies. They are part of a story that teaches us about nature, power, respect, and survival. At the end of Jurassic World Dominion, something huge had happened. For the first time in millions of years, dinosaurs weren't just on an island. They were everywhere. They lived in forests, swam in rivers, flew in skies, and even walked through towns. The whole Earth had become a Jurassic World. So what would that be like? Well, it would be both amazing and dangerous. Imagine waking up and seeing a Brachiosaurus outside your window, stretching its neck to eat leaves from tall trees. Or imagine going to the beach and seeing a Mosasaurus swim by in the waves. It would feel like stepping back in time, but also stepping into the future, where humans and dinosaurs share the same planet. But it wouldn't always be fun. Some dinosaurs are gentle, like Triceratops or Ankylosaurus. They just want to eat plants and walk in herds. But others, like raptors or the T-Rex, could cause real trouble. A herd of herbivores could trample farms. Raptors could sneak into barns or towns. Pteranodons could swoop down on pets or even people. And the giant predators could make whole areas unsafe for humans to live in. That's why people would have to learn new ways to survive. Scientists might build sanctuaries where dinosaurs could live safely, away from cities. Farmers might need fences stronger than ever before. Maybe new dinosaur rangers would be trained to guide and protect people, kind of like how Owen trained raptors. But there would also be wonder. Kids could grow up seeing creatures no one had seen for millions of years. Artists, scientists, and explorers would be inspired by the living dinosaurs. New medicines might be discovered by studying them. Whole new sciences would grow, mixing the past with the present. Still, the danger would always be there. Dinosaurs aren't like cats or dogs. They are wild animals, and they don't understand human rules. They would live their way, not ours. That's the real challenge. Could humans learn to respect dinosaurs enough to live beside them without trying to control them? Blue and her baby, Beta, showed what might be possible. They lived free in the wild, not hurting people, not trapped in cages. They were proof that dinosaurs could exist in today's world if humans left them alone. But at the same time, hunters and greedy people would always try to capture dinosaurs, sell them, or use them as weapons. The fight between humans and nature would never really end. So, the future of Jurassic World is full of questions. Will humans and dinosaurs find a balance, like two species sharing the Earth? Or will humans keep making mistakes, pushing nature until it pushes back? The movies don't give a final answer. They leave us wondering what comes next. But maybe that's the point. Just like in real life, we don't know what the future will hold. Dinosaurs in the story are a reminder. Nature is powerful, surprising, and unstoppable. We can't control it forever. We can only respect it, live with it, and try to learn from it. So, after Dominion, the world is different forever. A child growing up might see dinosaurs not as monsters, but as neighbors. Some days that would be scary. Other days, it would be beautiful. Either way, one thing is certain. The age of dinosaurs isn't in the past anymore. It's here.